Okay, so now we gotta get this thing pressed apart. Now I want to go throw it in the truing stand and see if it's true. Normally I just take the crank apart right here, but I want to see how good this job was done. So this was done by Truett and Osborne, I was told. So let's see what they got. It looked like it was spinning straight when I was in the case, so we'll just see how close it was. My guess is it's probably halfway close. Alright, so we're going to go over here to the press and use it over here. Somebody's got a trailer gate in the way. How did that get put there? Yeah, trailer gates are all over the place around here. Yeah, it's out of the way now. Okay, I gotta press this straight down. This block's in the way. Nice and light. Don't have the rods on top of the press block. Make sure the blocks all against the flywheels. And just give them just a touch of spree clearance. Make sure the crank will turn. And then just push straight down. Also make sure you're not on the top of any kind of dowel pin. Then you go up below and hold the crank up in the air so it doesn't bounce against the table. They're already loose. Tipping bearing was real tight on there. Okay, so that's what was inside of that. Somebody could get the snap ring out here and try to get this apart. That'd be fun. Or I could leave it like that and never touch it again. That's another option. Okay, so I'm going to go over to our truing stand, which is right there. And we'll go ahead and put the crank up in here. I'm about to readjust the lengths. I just had a twin cam in here. So right now it's way over. Got it set up for sportsters. It's about over in this area someplace. So that's a 45. Sportster's probably about there. We'll see. If it's wrong, I just move it again. Okay, there's our crank. Oh, we're way far. We're way far. There we go. Make sure your indicator doesn't hit anything. Get out of the way. Hear that bouncing noise? That means when the tapers is bad, the centers. You have to have it really tight so there's a lot of drag on the crank. You can push the tapers in so far. So there's a bad taper in there somewhere. So we also have a bad crank. So ideally you don't want these lines to be moving at all. You've seen me do it. So you got a couple lines on the left, which is the right side, that's 4/1000. We got a full line on the other side, which is 2/1000. So 2/1000 is your limit from the Harley. I like being half a line or less, but I live with 3/4 of a line. I don't like one full line. I really spend a lot of time being less than one line. So this crank is not too straight, but I don't like it that other noise. I loosen it up just enough to turn. Hear it? It's on this side over here. See how the needle's not bouncing so much on that side? It's over here on this side. So that means there's probably something going on with that taper, maybe? Something is not good. Not sure. Alright, let's go get it apart. Back over here. Don't lose your Temkin spacer, very important. So I can either just take it apart one nut, or I can take the whole crank apart. I kind of like taking the whole crank apart myself. That way I know it's together correctly. I don't see anything that's really blatantly wrong within the taper here, but it's obviously a little bit off. Otherwise it wouldn't have been bouncing. No obvious big ass hammer mark in it. Okay, we got to pull these lock tabs off here. I never use these things because they can come loose. And if this nut gets loose, this lock is not going to keep that nut from coming off. It will be coming off in a heartbeat. So they don't do a damn thing, so I just don't leave them. I use Loctite. Harley quit using them in the later 70s also for the same issue. They don't do squat. They take time and effort to use. Let's see, yeah, probably that one there will work. Just an impact knocker. You hit it with a hammer and it unscrews the screwdriver for you. Okay, so I got some more balancing going on here. That's a fucking genius there, let me tell you. What kind of a dumbass would drill right through timing marks? Stupid dumbass. That's been put in with a punch. That was not Harley. So these marks need to be checked to make sure they're correct. You never ever drill anywhere near the timing marks. That is stupid. See, he's doing a spin balance. That's why he's drilling on the outside of the crank. If you're doing static balance, you'd be drilling on the inside. The computer tells you where to drill, and that's where you drill. You don't want to be drilling right here either. It's weak, so it's a bad spot to be anywhere near it. That's just stupid drilling there. What you should do is drill way wide apart, like way over here and here. And you have to drill a lot deeper than right there, but you'll have the same effect for balancing. But you won't have a stupid ass hole right where your timing mark is at. Yeah, it's stupid. And a nice set of flywheels and screw them all up. There's your factory holes right there. There's usually 3 or 4 of them right here. This one has 4. Yeah, nice. Good work. Should I check it to see how bad they are? You know me, probably will. All right. Back in the day, I used to have to re-drill holes in these things. You couldn't get the screws out because they're all screwed up, so you have to cut them off. Then you have to put another hole next to it or try to drill the broken screw out. What a waste of time that was. Big waste of time. Loctite. When you break the nut and it keeps coming out real hard, real slow, that's Loctite. You can smell it right now, like in my nose. But anyway, you can see it on the thread, that white residue. That's the residue from the Loctite. You can also see it on the crank pin right here. I can smell it too. Loctite has its own smell. You can smell it. So the screws are secondary. They're not needed. Okay, these are on the taper. To break a taper, you hit 180 degrees from where that is. Hit it flat. Hit it hard. This one here, hit it flat on the crank pin. It'll pop. If you hit the crank pin at an angle, you'll screw up the thread. I usually use my heavier hammer than that one, but I didn't think they'd be very tight, so I did that. Okay, so there's the rod set. So there's the grease that's in there, some kind of a white style grease. Whatever it is, it was all blocking up in there. This here is the key right here. We can either leave the key in or take it out. I take them out. A pair of dikes works perfect for pulling keys. Comes out like that. If the crank pin will not fall out, there's something wrong. Okay, there's the greasy head in there. I don't see why they were not spinning. You can feel a little roughness in there. That one feels smooth. That one felt smooth. This one here I feel little ripples in it. Not too bad though. Finish is a lot rougher than I use. It's just different techniques of doing stuff. I like smooth finishes. Well, that is tight. I'd like to see a little more clearance in the rod. There's only a couple thou in there. A little close. Alright. You had to grind this here probably because the rod was hitting on it. Look at that dried up puke underneath the lock. They never even clean it off and you put the crank together. Okay, here's a can of brake clean. Try something here. Okay, fingers dry clean. Put a little bit of this on here. See all the black on there? And it's gritty. You can feel it. The grit. Ooh, just touching this flywheel. They never cleaned this. Look at it. I just put my hand in and just touched it. Look at that junk on there. That's clean. How long you blind morning gonna live with that crap running around inside there? I just touched it up under here. Right in here. I just touched it somewhere right through here, somewhere in this area, just grabbed it. It's just slimy. You can feel it. It feels very tacky. I mean, look at the black coming out. You don't even need brake clean. I mean, didn't even put anything on this side. Just tar. Okay. Your motor's supposed to live with this crap? Stupid. I've never seen a new motor put together with shit like that on the inside. Even guys in their damn backyard, you should clean it better than that. Jeez. That's just stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. And if Trude Osborne actually did it, they ought to be shot. The thread was actually Loctite. Remember, hit it flat. If you see a shiny spot right here, your crank is loose. That means you're bottom out against the shoulder, not on the taper. I always come in there and cut these anyway. I like having at least a fingernail clearance between this edge here, the shoulder, and the flywheel. If not, you can hit bottom out. That is not the correct key. Harley uses little short keys about like that long. They don't use these folding keys. That's not original. Pretty tight in there. Not much clearance. It wasn't hitting though, because otherwise it would have been shiny, but when I torque it down, it might go in and hit all the way, because I torqued the snot out of these things. We're talking about that clearance right between the shaft and there, down through there. So I'm just pushing on with my hand here. You can see how there's not a lot of clearance in there. Yeah. Oh, those things are dirty. Hi. Can't believe how filthy these flywheels are. Junk. Very, very bad. There's the correct key. See how short it is? See how it's short? See how shorter it is in height also, so it engages far in the flywheel. No difference. You can see how it's barely engaged up here in the dark part. The rest of it's inside the crank, whereas this one here, you have this much in the crank and the rest of it sticks out in the flywheel. A lot more engagement. Correct part, incorrect part. One's just a standard universal key and the other one's Harley key. Alright, so none of that I like too much. Okay, let's go look at these rods here. Let's see, I want to get a quick measurement. Let's see where the bearing's at. Bearings are still all together on the crank pin. There it is. Here's our crank pin. Look at all the goo on that. Let's go give these a quick measurement here. See what size bearings we got. These are oversized. These are 7, so these are at least 8/10. 8, that's 3. These are 4/10 over. Yeah. 5 is standard. 7 would be 2/10. They always cheat a tenth or two. Usually they cheat like 2/10 worth. So he's got oversized bearings on here. These are probably 4 over bearings. Be my guess. Ooh, that's way undersized. So 1 thou and a half under on the crank pin, which is half to 1 thou more than they usually are. Let's see, where's it at? 6/10. 5/10. That's 5. So if we got 1.5 under, give yourself 1 thou clearance. Just be generous. That means you're 1/2 thou under. That's what it should be. The bearings are 4/10 over, so that's shouldn't be 4 over on my gauge over there. Let's go see what they really are. I'm talking in tenths of a thou too, so there's our gauge. Should be about 4. You ever take a couple tenths for air and heat variation? Because I don't know what temperature this stuff was measured at. It's hot today. It's cooled off a little bit, but it's hot. There you go. Size is good. Not around is not. 3/10 out around. Ooh, yeah. 3/10 out. Slightly loose because of that. That one's only 1 or 2 down. It's more round though. Yeah, 2/10 out. 1/10. So this rod's tight here. This one here was on size. They're both out around about 3/10. Hopefully you can see what was going on there. Basically, if you drop down a little bit and pull back, basically it was doing this here. It's rotating like this. That's a full 3/10 out. It's your male rod here. See how it's looser? It's 1/2 thou looser. So, not my quality of honing. None of this stuff's my quality. It sucks. So, oh well. The finishes are too rough. Sizes are wrong. Too tight. Loose is okay. Tight bad. Cleaning this should be shot. That's just stupid. And then we have the timing hole mark issue, which I got to deal with. So somebody took a big ass stamp and just stamped a big flat spot in there for a timing mark. stock they are cut in there. That's been just beat into with a hammer and a flat punch. So let's go over here and see what a stock flywheel looks like. It's gonna be a long video. Oh well, too bad. Okay, Sportster flywheels. Some of these are marked already because I use them for referencing. Sharp. There you go. Got every mark in the world in this one. It's a 77 flywheel. This just came out of a 77 to probably all up to 81. Okay, these are externally balanced also. See these dumbass holes everywhere? See there's no holes on the backside when they're spin static balance. Static is always on the inside if you do it right. Dynamic spin balancing is always on the outside. Okay, what I care about is how close is that mark to this mark. Should be off a little bit because this is 39 degrees. It should be over here about 45 degrees. So we're just going to do a rough eyeball line up of the holes here. Flywheel diameter. And we're just going to see where we're at. So right now the mark should be right here. It's way over there. So do have it in the right spot. This is 39. 45 is what your 900 bikes used. Okay, so it does look like they got the mark in the right spot. Now if you're going to use an electronic ignition on this old bike, this is where you want the TD mark to be, right here. That's right what that mark is for. So they almost drilled out their TD mark. The problem is when you're checking all this time, you can see these big ass holes going by. You don't know where you're at. So that's TD, and that looks like 45 degrees. So these look like they're the correct marks, but this is the original mark. See how deep it is? That's original. That is not. So at least the tapers look good. Keyways are nice and sharp and crisp. That's good. Alright. So this needs to be cut deeper. Usually I take a chop saw and just go across the edge. Make it deeper like this. So you can see it easily. Okay, so these are will work. These are 57 castings in case you didn't see the number over there. 60 would be another casting, so this is 57 to 60. Somewhere in 60 they changed the 60 casting number. This is 61 bike, but I don't know what year they actually went to a 60 casting number. It's common for wheels to be mixed for years. So, oh well. Alright, so there you go. So there's another one up there. There's a 60 flywheel. See the 60 number? And they got the 57 over there too. Keep you confused. So, see that mark there looks more like this one. Alright, so there you go. Diagnostic for a new rebuild. All I can say is I'm sure glad I took it apart because it sucks on the inside. So we got a few things for the customer to look at. And it's almost tomorrow. Time to go do some welding on my crap, I guess. I need more sunburns even though it's not sunny outside. Alright, so anyway, that's what they look like when you take apart these things. You come across all kinds of stuff. Freshly rebuilt, in my opinion, means it's just freshly screwed up, and that definitely says that. So, alright, that's it for this one. He will be happy when he sees this video.